Imagine this for a second. You're browsing online, maybe eBay, and you see something that looks really valuable. Looks right, feels right based on the description, has all the proper markings, but the price is just, well, incredibly low.
Yeah, like suspiciously low. That little voice kicks in, doesn't it? Is this actually real?
Exactly. And that feeling, that question, is what we're digging into today. We're exploring the pretty wild world of counterfeits.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically, we've got this really interesting case study. A fake silver bar bought right off eBay.
Right. And our mission basically is to follow the trail of someone who bought one of these bars and put it through, well, a whole battery of tests to find out what it was really made of.
Yeah, and we're basing this on a really detailed audio account we found.
Yeah.
Someone actually recorded themselves going through the whole process, buying it, testing it, everything.
It's quite the journey they
It
documented.
really is. And honestly, what they found was pretty eye-opening from how convincing it seemed at first glance.
Oh, yeah. The initial impression was key.
To what the more scientific tests actually revealed. We get a very clear picture by the end. So let's get into it.
Okay.
So the whole thing kicks off with the purchase, obviously. Our source, the person doing the testing, they specifically looked for one of these bars on eBay.
And they weren't looking for quality, were they? They wanted the cheapest one?
Exactly. It cost just $9 plus shipping. The goal was purely testing, find the rock bottom option, and see what you get.
And right away, the deception was pretty sophisticated. It showed up in what our source called a pretty nice little plastic case.
Which adds that immediate layer of seeming legitimacy, right?
Totally. And then the bar itself,
Yeah.
it had this heft. It felt, quote, pretty close to a troy ounce.
Which is crucial, because if you're just holding it, you might think, yeah, this feels about right. Maybe you don't have a super precise scale handy.
Exactly. That tactile feel can fool a lot of people. And the markings looked good, too.
Apparently so.
Mm.
It was stamped $9.99 fine silver and 1 troy ounce. Looked official.
Standard markings you'd expect.
Well, but then there was this slightly odd detail. Our source mentioned a nice marijuana leaf on the back.
Huh. Okay. That's different. Not exactly your typical mint design.
No, but maybe that almost adds to the fake authenticity. Makes it seem unique, perhaps.
Could be. Or just a random design choice by the counterfeiter. Who knows? Anyway, so they've got the bar. It looks okay. Feels kind of right. What's the first real test?
First up, the easy one. The magnet test.
Mm.
Non-destructive, quick check.
Right. Silver's not magnetic.
And bingo.
Huh.
They used a really strong magnet, and the bar was, in their words, completely non-magnetic. Like, no kind of field at all.
Okay, so that's interesting. It rules out iron or steel cores immediately, which are common in some fakes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't confirm silver, obviously. Lots of metals aren't magnetic.
True, it's a clue, but not the whole story. So, next step, the weight test.
Got out the scale.
Right, what did it weigh?
Came in at about 28.7 grams.
Okay, so a real troy ounce is, what, 31.1 grams roughly? Yeah, around there. So it was definitely a little underweight. But, as the tester noted, still pretty darn close.
Close enough to pass a casual check, maybe?
That seems to be the idea. Close enough that if you weren't meticulously checking or didn't know the exact weight, you might easily overlook it.
Clever. It's all about being just good enough to pass muster initially. These aren't always clumsy fakes.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Okay, so not magnetic, a bit underweight. Now, for the test that really starts to blow things open, the acid test.
Ah, the chemical test. This should be revealing.
Right, so they applied a specific testing solution. And the source knew that if it was real silver, the acid should typically turn greenish.
Okay, standard reaction. But what happened here?
Well, it was dramatic. The acid ate right through that plating, almost instantly, very, very quickly. And it produced a nice turquoise color.
Turquoise, not green. That's a dead giveaway, isn't it?
Absolutely. It immediately showed that whatever silver was there, it was just a plating. And a very, very light, really thin plating at that.
Because the acid went through it so fast?
In no time at all, they said. And crucially, where the acid burned through, it revealed a color underneath described as almost copperish.
Uh-huh. So now we're getting a hint of the core material. Copperish. Could be copper, could be brass, bronze maybe?
Exactly. But before we get to confirming that, our source made a really, really important point about safety here.
Oh, absolutely. Acid testing is not kid stuff.
No way. They emphasize these are very dangerous chemicals. You absolutely need protection. Gloves, eyewear, proper ventilation.
And they specifically warned anybody under 18, don't mess with this stuff. Seriously, it's crucial. These acids can cause nasty burns.
A really vital warning. Okay, so safety first, always. But back to the bar. We know it's plated, likely over something copper-like. The next step.
Time to get definitive, I guess. Gotta see what's inside.
Yep. They decided to do the destructive test, grind a bit off the bar, see the core material directly.
The point of no return for the bar, but the moment of truth for the test.
And after grinding, the inside was clearly, unmistakably, brass or bronze. It had that distinct yellowish color.
Just as the copperish hint from the acid suggested. Okay, so brass or bronze core. Thin silver plating.
And just to double-check everything, they tested that exposed brass-bronze core with the magnet again.
Still not magnetic, I assume. Brass and bronze aren't.
Correct. Not affected at all by the magnet.
Yeah.
So that confirmed the core material's non-magnetic nature and ruled out anything else. Case pretty much closed on what it's made of.
So a $9 purchase turns out to be essentially a silver-plated piece of brass. No big surprise there, maybe. But what about the bigger picture?
All right, let's zoom out. How does this one example fit into the wider market? Well, this is where it gets, frankly, a bit shocking.
Oh.
Our source looked up similar bars still selling on eBay. Remember, this cost $9 to buy for the test. They found identical or near identical ones selling for $57 and $47 and in that range.
Wow. Okay, wait. Selling for almost $50–60 for a piece of brass.
Yep, that's the markup. The potential profit for the counterfeiters is huge if they can pass these off as real, or even just as silver-plated novelties worth that much.
That's quite a scam. And presumably there are lots of these out there.
Our source certainly thought so. They noted seeing several others that looked similar, maybe slightly different designs, but the assumption was they are all probably the same inside.
Built the same way, same materials, same basic deception.
It points to a bigger trend, doesn't it? Our source had a key insight here. We're likely to see a lot more of this kind of stuff popping up, especially as the price of silver increases.
That makes perfect sense. The higher the value of the real thing, the greater the incentive to fake it. It becomes more profitable for the counterfeiters.
Absolutely. So reflecting on this whole journey, we started with what looked like a bargain silver bar for $9.
Seemed legit enough on the surface. Nice case, right weight, sort of.
Right. And through a series of tests, magnet, weight, acid, grinding, we end up confirming it's just brass or bronze with a wafer-thin silver coating.
It's a really clear illustration of how clever these fakes can be, but also how vulnerable they are to proper testing.
And it really highlights the danger for buyers, doesn't it? How easy it could be to get ripped off if you're not careful.
Definitely underscores the need for skepticism, especially with online deals that seem too good to be true. You really have to verify.
So maybe the takeaway thought for you, the listener, is this. We see it here with silver. But in this age of booming online marketplaces and fluctuating values, what other things, what other seemingly trustworthy items might be vulnerable to this kind of sophisticated faking? And maybe what's our own responsibility to look beyond the surface, to really verify the value of things we buy?
That's a really good point. It's easy to click buy, but harder to be sure what you're actually getting sometimes. Definitely something to think about next time you're hunting for a bargain online.